Hello and welcome back to another episode on Life Afloat. Today's video is all about what I enjoy most about living on board a narrowboat. I've decided to make this video because I did one a while ago on what I dislike the most, so it just makes sense to do one on what I enjoy the most and what I find best about living life on board my narrowboat round the bend. Now, there's loads of good stuff about living on board a narrowboat. I love how you can just moor up wherever you feel like pretty much and stay there for a couple of weeks. The sense of freedom is really great. I like being out in the countryside. I like how close you get to nature, and just the fact that you're living on a boat, I just really like that whole concept. But by far and away the best thing about living on board a narrowboat is just being part of such an amazing community of people. So I'll share some examples of just how great the boating community is shortly. But it's, for me, by far and away the best part about living on a boat is just the people that you meet, how friendly everyone is. Because if you're living in a house, especially big towns or cities, villages not so much, there's still a bit of a sense of community spirit in villages. Not all towns and cities, but I think the majority, people sort of keep themselves to themselves. You might say hello to your neighbours, but you wouldn't sort of say hello to strangers as you're passing by on the road necessarily, and that sort of thing. But here, out living on the canals, living in a boat, out on the canals, you say hello to people walking their dogs, you say hello to cyclists, you say hello to fishermen, you say hello to boaters. Just anyone who's around, you just say hello to, and you can stop and you can have a conversation with anyone. And people are happy to spend time talking to you. And I just think it's because there's a slower pace of life out on the canals. I think people are happier to spend a bit of time to stop and have a chat because they're not so busy. You know, they've come out to the canals to spend some time to get away from the whole busyness of life. And obviously if you're a boater, you live on the canals and that is your way of life. You are out here in a much slower paced lifestyle, and you just, I think, chill out more. It's just more relaxed and more sort of stress free, if that makes sense. So I'll share with you some examples of how great this community can be. The very first minute I moved in onto the boat, it was at Stoke Hammond, and there was a chap moored up there called Tim, and he came and said hello. He said he'd noticed the boat had been there, but hadn't seen anyone sort of go to it, and obviously he saw me carrying stuff in and put two and two together, and he said, "Oh, you're moving in?" So I said, "Yeah, I'm moving in now," and I had a good old chat with him, and he said, "Right, have you got enough tea, coffee, milk? Do you need anything to eat?" You know, all this sort of stuff. Just wanted to make sure I was all right for the first night aboard, really, which was really kind of him. And he lent me a battery charger, which was it was a rechargeable battery charger that I connected up to my leisure batteries just to put a bit of power in them, make sure they were okay, so that I could run the lights and stuff like that. So that was my very first experience. As soon as I got onto the boat, I had someone there offering help and lending me a battery charger, which was really nice. And then, as you know, more recently I've been towing Faye around, so you know, it's just what we do, help each other out. So she needed a tow, so I gave her a tow. What else? Last summer, I was moored. Where was I moored up? I think it might have been around Weedon sort of area, between Weedon and Blissworth, anyway, somewhere. And I was cleaning the boat. I was crouched down cleaning the gunnels on the towpath side, and I heard someone shouting, "We're sinking, we're sinking." And I thought, well, that doesn't sound very good, so I stuck my head up, and there's a boat coming along, and a boat, the chap driving it looks quite concerned, and he was coming at quite a speed towards the bank. Obviously he thought he was sinking, so he wanted to get to the bank to get his wife, and they had a little toddler on board. They wanted to get them off, make sure they were safe. And anyway, he chucked me a rope and I helped pull him in, and looked inside his engine bilge, and there was just water pouring in through the stern gland. And it transpired that they'd had the boat in a marina for a couple of years. This was their first trip out, and he hadn't checked that there was any grease in the stern gland, and of course there wasn't any grease, and I think it probably needed repacking as well, judging by how quickly it was pouring in. It was literally like there was a tap on full blast. So I said to him, oh blimey. So I gave him some grease. He filled up his stern gland and managed to stop the water coming in, and then I helped him bail out the water that was in there. And I had an old battery. He had a bilge pump that wasn't connected. I had an old battery, and we just sort of bodged the bilge pump, connecting it to the battery just with some gaffer tape to hold the wires onto the terminals until he could get to Wilton Marina he was heading for, to get it sort of checked out and dealt with properly. So they're sort of the two main sort of times where I've helped other boaters, is towing Faye and helping this chap on his boat. And then more recently, you've been following my channel, I hope anyway, you'll know that my engine's been overheating. So I posted on a narrowboat Facebook group that my engine had been overheating, and various people commented with suggestions and things to check and what have you, which was very kind. There's one chap, well there's two people that have really come through for me. There was a chap called Tim, so if you're watching this, Tim, thank you so much for all your help and your time. I spent about 3 hours chatting with Tim, and he was telling me things to do, things to check, asking me to send photos and what have you, and he's helped me diagnose faulty thermostat. So I've got a thermostat on order and a new thermostat gasket, so once that's arrived I'll be fitting that, and hopefully that will solve the overheating problem. But yeah, he just spent ages with me yesterday talking me through what to check, what to do, what to look for, and yeah, it was just really helpful. And then I was contacted by Lisa. Lisa and her husband Glenn have a Facebook channel. They're boaters, they live aboard boaters, and they do vlogs as well. You may well know of their channel, A Life Full of Meaning. I'll stick a link to their channel in the description below. But Lisa, bless her, got in contact with me and said, do you want Glenn to come over and have a look at it with you? He's quite good at diesel engines. Now I don't know if Glenn knew he was being volunteered or not, but the offer was ever so kind. And this was after I'd ordered the thermostat, so I said, thank you ever so much, it's really kind, but I think now that it's the thermostats, I've got a new one on order, and then if that doesn't do the trick, then I'll probably take you up on your kind offer for Glenn to come over and take a look at it, if he knows a bit about engines, because I've only ever done sort of basic servicing and things on engines before, and an overheating problem is a new one on me, so I've not dealt with that yet, but hopefully this thermostat will sort it. But Lisa, thank you for your kind offer, that was really nice. But you know, there we have it, guys. That's why this community is so amazing. You just go all out really to help other boaters and do what you can to look after each other. So yeah, it's brilliant. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you taking the time out to watch this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and click the notification bell so you are updated every time I upload a new video. And until the next one, take care of yourselves. I'll see you then. Cheers.